Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Presto.
This is nickYeti.
And CorporalNosaj.
You're listening to episode 2 of the Nintendads podcast. Welcome back, everybody.
What's up?
Yo.
If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the Nintendads podcast. And as you can probably guess, we are dads. We talk about Nintendo stuff. New games, announcements, what we're playing, what we think you should play, what we think you should steer away from because it's a flaming pile of dog stuff. Just a lot of opinions, a lot of differing opinions, because there's only a couple things that we agree on, and that's that we all like Nintendo most of the time.
The fine line has been walked, my friend.
I would say you are 90% of most of the time of why I have to say most of the time.
Yeah, I know. There's so many things to be said.
Anyway, but listen, before we start arguing, we need to do a special early adopter listener shout out to my good friend, Nanaki Face. You can follow her at twitch.tv/Nanaki_face. That's NANAKI_face, like your face. She's a longtime college buddy of mine. She's a gamer, and she gave us some great feedback on the first episode, which we appreciate.
Gamer, what game? What's her main game or games?
So, fun fact about her is she whipped the hell out of every single person in my entire college in Halo.
All right. I think I remember you saying this. You say Halo. You say Halo. Which Halo, though?
I think it was Halo 1 and maybe Halo 2. It was like 2008,
I give golf
2009.
Clap. Golf clap for sure.
Hey, so all right, we're going to kick off this episode with just, what are you guys playing? What are you guys playing this week? What are you playing, Corporal?
Honestly, I've been getting back into DC Universe Online on the Switch since they ported. I love DC Universe. I'm a Batman fan at heart. So every time I get to dress up like a superhero and run around and save the day, I'm all for it.
It's Halloween that brings out the costuming in you.
Yep.
What about you, nickYeti? What are you playing?
I have been playing Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Super Nintendo, what they call the Virtual Console on here. I found out that Robin, my sweet, sweet love, actually likes that game, which was amazing. So we've been trying to figure out like a video game that we could both play, and she loves the side-by-side puzzle game. So that has been a game we've been rocking out on all week, actually, which has been pretty killer. And playing Ken and Smash also. That's a standard. But,
yes, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been also playing a little Smash, and I also tried for a hot minute the demo for Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Oh, okay. I want a little input on this because I think I played the demo for the first one on the PS4 in the PS4's early days. And I thought it was interesting. So I want to hear your take on this.
So Dragon Quest Builders 2, if you haven't played it, it's kind of like it's like a third person, like you have your little guy, you like run around, and it's based off Dragon Quest, so it's like got RPG elements at its core. But it's like if you took an RPG and mixed it with like a weird version of Minecraft, because you can break apart the environment and the game progresses where you have to build up your town's defenses and all this stuff. And I was really interested in it, but I'll give you both one guess why it's no longer on my I'm interested in it list.
Multiplayer?
It's not. Yeah.
Oh,
Jeez.
damn! He nailed it. I had a different one. It's not multiplayer.
So it's multiplayer, but it's in the most limited way. Like you and I could play together online, but we could only play in like a super restricted like sandbox corner of the game. Like you can't play through the game with people. You can't play through the challenges with people. And that's as soon as I found that out, I'm like, sorry.
I feel like that's a big that's a big swing and a miss for a game. When it's their second iteration too. I remember seeing 3D Block Hero on the PS3, I think it was. And I think that was supposed to contend with Minecraft, and it looked great. I didn't play it at all. But I saw the Dragon Quest, and I love the idea of the more RPG-esque elements. But that's That's a total for me. Someone who doesn't need the multiplayer aspect, a game like that doesn't have it, it needs it, and that's a fail.
Yeah, I mean it's mostly a single player experience, but whatever.
What are you playing?
What are you playing?
Are you asking me or are you asking the audience?
I just repeated what you said.
What are you playing? This next section came out of some questions from our audience of episode 1. Thank you for listening, everybody, to episode 1, if you listened to it. If not, go check it out. So a couple people messaged us saying that they just got a Switch or they've had a Switch and they don't have that many games for it, and they would want to know what are the must-own games. Because this Switch has been out for a couple years now, and they want to know what the games are that everyone has to own, in our opinion. So with me, I'll start. My number one must-own game, pretty much the reason why I bought the Switch in the first place. Because when it was announced, I had no interest. I was like, this is a gimmick. This is stupid. I'm fine having my home console be my home console and my portable game system be my portable game system. But
are you telling me that you weren't sucked into Nintendo Switch concepts from Gate?
No, I was a hater. Me and nickYeti had this conversation. He's like, yo, the Switch. And I'm like, no. I'm like, conditionally, if they announce a new Smash Brothers for the Switch, I will pre-order one the next day, or I will go out and buy one the next day. And they did their little trailer. Splatoon guy came out, Smash Ball, and I was already on Facebook Marketplace looking for a Switch. So, no surprise, my must-own
Nothing
game
sticker price
is Super Smash Brothers. It's every Nintendo game at once.
It is a version of what Super Smash Brothers could be.
Ooh, listen, yeah, it could be Brawl. Let's just remember those dark days, okay? It could be Brawl.
Super Smash Brawl had a lot of problems.
Yes, it did. And Super Smash Brothers Ultimate has a lot of problems, but it's a great Smash game. I would say it sits very near the top of the best Smash game. Obviously, that title is reserved for Melee. It's not really a debate. But when they release HD version of Melee, fingers crossed, then that will be the best Smash game for the Switch. But until then, Smash Ultimate is great. It's got an absurdly big roster. It's got every game from every Smash, and then some. It's got Ken. It's got Ken. That's really the only reason that nickYeti still plays it, is it's got Ken and it's got Piranha Plant.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
It's great.
Plant Gang.
Don't play it online. Listen to me. Look at me, audience. Don't play it online.
Can we just make the definitive statement that Smash Ultimate, Couch Competitive, and Smash Ultimate Online are two separate freaking games?
Yeah, it's basically like you bought two games in one when you got it.
Yeah, so good for you guys. You guys had Nintendo hooked you up with two games right there.
So Super Smash Bros. Is great. Online is a different. We could do a whole episode. I could do a whole episode by myself on that. But anyway, but Super Smash Bros. Is absolutely great. The gameplay is fast. The mechanics are really cool. It's very rewarding to play. It's the best game to play, on the with your friends, 4 people having some beers, or one-on-one if you're more into the competitive scene. Which I think I'm gonna start going to some local tournaments out here in Philly. But yeah, so Smash Ultimate, my number one must-have game.
Can we just talk about Sam Sora for 2 seconds right now?
Oh God, why do you want to talk about Sam Sora?
I love him. I love. All right,
Did that Peach cosplay have you feeling some kind of way?
I have so much dead respect for someone who is so dedicated to one character that they love, and the fact that he's coming in second and he's not switching around to the jank, and I'm not going to go off naming competitors here, but the fact that he sits there in second like that on like a summit, I think it's great.
He is ride or die Peach, man.
I love it. That's what I love about him, is the fact that he's ride or die Peach, and he's up there. Like, my eternal respect for that.
He's a boss, yeah.
Yeah.
So besides Smash Brothers, because you can Google best games for the Switch, and Smash Brothers is going to come up as like one of the top 3. We wanted to kind of give you a main game, but then also a game you might not know about, an independent game, you know, a side game, something that's off the beaten path a little bit. And for that pick of mine, it's going to be Hollow Knight. So Hollow Knight is essentially a Metroidvania game, meaning it's, you know, you have a big open world 2D. It's a 2D game, so not like open world like Breath of the Wild open world, but a big 2D maze of death and you know, dungeon type elements. And as you get different abilities and stuff, you unlock new things. Like there'll be a cliff you can't get up to until you unlock the double jump, and then you can get up there and you go to the next area. And there's a lot of Castlevania games or Metroidvania games. Hollow Knight is really, really cool for a couple reasons. A, you're like this little unassuming knight guy, and the whole entire world takes place like on a micro scale because all of the characters are insects. So there's like spiders and caterpillars and beetles, and like it's just a really, you know, weird, moody kind of dark world.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets King Arthur and the Knights of Round Table.
And like Bugs Life, the movie, if it were really dark and everyone was trying to kill you.
So it's a
but the other thing,
game. Okay,
it's a dark. It's not super dark. It's not like
dark,
hold
on. Let's go here for. Hollow Knight has porn parodies, by the way.
I mean, of course.
It has. Does it really?
That was. Yes, it does. That shot across my Twitter feed, and I was just. I did not try to go look it up, but the fact that it had that, I was just like, all right, well, like you're for an indie game, you know, good job. You made a game that got a porn parody.
Rule 34. Rule 34 ruins everything. But speaking of artistic interpretation, the other reason I really like Hollow Knight is because it's all like hand drawn. It's not a polygon game. It's all hand drawn. The levels, the creature elements, everything is this unique art that's hand drawn, and has some really cool effects. Still, my number one pick is a character for Hollow Knight to be the last DLC fighter.
Oh man,
I want it. I want it so bad.
The leaks that I'm seeing right now, I swear that if they put Crash in that, I swear to God, I
haven't
can't,
seen
dude.
that. That's really funny.
I can't. I mean, we got Banjo, right? Like that's great.
That's
like,
our Goofy DLC character, right?
Yeah,
Goofy.
I love Banjo-Kazooie.
I still have to say, Plant's my favorite. You can't.
Plant is my favorite of the DLC. Plant's Plant Gang.
He came out so unique. I know we're going to talk about Smash so much. We gotta move.
This was almost a Smash podcast. Anyway, I can't end my segment without giving an honorable shout out to Rocket League, which I probably have more playtime on than any other game on my Switch except for Smash.
That says a lot.
Just putting that out there. Okay. nickYeti, what are your picks? What do you, if you had a Switch on an island, on a desert island, and you could only have 2 games?
You can only have 2 games. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the indie game, the Indie S game. Very popular indie game that's on there. It's The Binding of Isaac. I believe it's the Afterbirth Plus edition that's on the Switch. I could be wrong. I did not look that up. Binding of Isaac's fantastic. So this is how it goes down. It's a roguelike game. It is basically like a dungeon crawler. Imagine the first Zelda game, and the whole game's like you're in this endless sort of dungeon. Each room's different. You get all these different zany powers. You eventually unlock different characters that you could be. It has the most insane cult following. If you go on the Twitch and watch these people that know how to manipulate and break the game, it's really fascinating to see. I think it's great. Definitely, I should say, for people who don't know what to get on the Switch and want a cheaper game, or I would say it's a mid-range cheap game, definitely go for The Binding of Isaac.
It's pretty hard, though, right? I do want to mention the difficulty. Like, it's pretty... I've never played it, but I've heard it's... I mean, it's a roguelike.
So here's the funny thing is when we start using statements like hard and everything, I remember being a kid and playing the first Zelda game, and then I remember watching a video gaming media outlet that I shall not name, and they were covering Dark Souls. No, because they used to be good and now they suck now, so they're not going to get me to name who they are. The way that they were talking about, they came onto the subject of the original Zelda game. And they're like, "Oh yeah," they're talking about Dark Souls. And they're like, "Yeah, well, if you think about it, back in the day, like the original Zelda game was almost like Dark Souls, where it was in the case of you had to actually understand the enemy's movement, and no matter you can collect a ton of hearts, but in a few hits, as you get later in the game,
true.
You die. You know what I mean? Until you look up how to get the blue and red tunic right off the bat. Nonetheless, though, pre-internet day and age, still, so If you still like that difficulty, you can train yourself, and then you can learn a character. So you can get good with that character and keep going through the dungeon and everything. And then if you want another challenge or something different, pick up another character and learn it. It has a ton of replayability. There's no doubt this is a great game. So that would definitely be an indie pick for me.
Cool.
Very cliche now. Full retail game. Mario Odyssey has it.
Really?
It would definitely, absolutely, 110%. This would have been between Zelda and Mario Odyssey. Breath of the Wild screwed the pooch on me.
What?
And yeah, I know, right?
What?
So let me explain.
Go ahead.
The scandal.
The scandal, right?
We're gonna butt heads, but it's all right.
So that's okay. So here's the thing, right? Breath of the Wild is a phenomenal game. There's no argument with that. The game in itself, especially.
Hold on. Start with Odyssey. Start with Odyssey, because as soon as you go off on Breath of the Wild, Jason's gonna leap through his shitty microphone and attack you.
I got you. All right. So Mario Odyssey. So it's great. A ton of different worlds, a ton of throwbacks, a ton of replayability. Possessing people with your hat, a ton of fun. My son loves it. Me and my son play this together. He likes it when I'm Cappy, and then he switches to him being Cappy, and I play Mario back and forth. So if something's too hard for him to understand, he'll be Cappy, and I'll play through it, and then he'll make me Cappy, and then I'll play through it. You really get to the side by side. The dynamic of it's great.
That actually sounds really cool. I've never played the game. I've just seen the videos, but as a father-son duo,
played it?
No,
I've never played
that sounds cool.
So check this out, right? So Cappy, right? Cappy's this hat, and he's basically your companion, your Navi, your Navi, I guess you would say, from Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Except he possesses things. So you get to be any enemy in that game. You can throw your cap at and become them, and that becomes crucial in getting the moons and everything throughout the level. And you get this blimp airship. And my son Lance he loves collecting the costumes and everything, because you have to collect coins and collect moons in the game to unlock costumes and then stickers and everything to decorate your airship with, which is fantastic that a game has, and they've come out with more too since then. And it's been free, I guess you would say, DLC. So he loves it when it comes out with new stuff, and all he has to do is keep playing the game, and essentially it sharpens his skill in playing that game to collect more moons and collect more coins to go and get more costumes, stickers. I don't know if the game out with more. It's definitely costumes. He loves it though. It's great that you don't have to pay money for something like that. It's built within the game.
That's cool. I can respect that, for them having that like tiered content built in instead of offering it as paid DLC, because they easily could have, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I guess that, yeah.
Now, why do you not like Breath of the Wild?
Just before you go on your rant, I'm gonna put you in perspective. My AAA title that is must buy for Nintendo Switch is going to be Zelda Breath of the Wild. So go ahead.
I'm not against that though. I'm not against that. Here's the thing. I'm not against that whatsoever. Breath of the Wild deserves as a video game its rating and respect.
Okay.
As a Zelda game, totally fails.
Really?
The reason for this are the dungeons. So what they did was they basically put 4 what they consider main dungeons in the game, and you can't argue. Everyone has all called it. They're very generic, pretty much the same. nothing different as far as the enemies with it. It's only like 2 or 3 different enemies, and the way they place them in there, the puzzle solving it gets lame after the second one. Like the first time I played it and I got to that dungeon, I was like, this is freaking cool. Like they did something with this. But then when solving every dungeon is the same mechanic, just a different path, I was like, this isn't Zelda. And then they said, oh, well, to substitute that, we gave you guys the shrines. And I'm like, so the issue with this is that when you went into these other Zelda games, and you got to use Ocarina of Time as the gold standard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay, so we can all agree on that. Like, Link's Awakening came out, the redone and everything. I feel like any generation would definitely agree. Ocarina of Time, gold standard. You went into a dungeon, and you progressed in the dungeon, and then you got to a certain point in the dungeon where you got a new piece of equipment, and you had a map and everything, and then you had to rethink how you approached the same room in the dungeon.
In order to get out. Yeah.
When you got to the forest dungeon, that first one, when you became adult Link and everything, and everything just got totally warped in that dungeon. I mean, that was really like the first 3 dungeons as a kid. It kind of like set you up like it's going to be different. But then once you became adult Link, and those dungeons just completely changed. I mean, that was fascinating. And then just to see like the next few games come out to just multiply on top of that. So Breath of the Wild, it was like such a great concept, and I love it. Breath of the Wild deserves a 10 out of 10. I can't argue with that. But if you want to put it on the scale to Zelda games, don't think of it as a Zelda game. Think of it as a great game. That's my approach to it.
Okay.
What do you have to say about that, Corporal?
I mean, take the reins on this. It's your show now.
So I'm going to say right off the bat that I agree that Breath of the Wild is probably one of the best games that's available on Nintendo Switch. It is the game that you should own.
Absolutely.
For me, I said in my previous episode that I am more about the storyline and the episodic or epicness of the story that it provides. So for me, the best thing about Ocarina of Time was the open world and the vast landscape that you can explore and travel through. And Breath of the Wild expanded on that.
That was a feat, though. When they did that for Ocarina of Time, there was a whole thing on that. They had to really stretch nuts on that to get that to where it was.
Hyrule Field,
yeah, for sure.
So that was one of the reasons why I was so impressed with Breath of the Wild. The ability to just traverse the entire landscape. They brought all of the iconic landmarks back, and you expanded on them. So, and the art style of that game was phenomenal and was extremely beautiful. There is something that the viewers will learn about me as time, but I can get emotionally attached to certain characters. And there's a female character that Link has a quote-unquote relationship with through this game, and her story arc literally brought me to tears. And
in Breath of the Wild.
Are you talking about Zelda?
No, I'm not talking about Zelda.
Who are you talking about? Why am I forgetting this now?
Maria, the fish girl.
Oh, hey.
Link's
got that.
Link's side.
He's got that side mermaid thing going down, man.
Oh man,
he's been like that.
You want to talk real 34? Jesus,
he's been like that since Ocarina. Link's got an issue.
He does, but his side piece, Maria.
Zelda doesn't know he's been taking swim lessons. The water temple was really, really difficult for
it was difficult.
They want to keep you there.
The water temple was probably one of the hardest. But
what if we just had what if Nintendo just came out and said Dark Link you face in the water temple was actually real Link, and real Link got stuck in the water temple as her slave, and then this other Shadow Link that looks like real Link has been the one in the other games, and he's just been.
No, wait. I have the idea. Ready? Okay. This is gonna be the definitive
here we go.
Link Zelda experience for 2020. You ready? Okay. The Legend of Zelda Link Dating Simulator.
Oh, God.
You got Zelda. I guess you could have Sheik as a different character. You got Maria, the fish lady. You
Nympha.
got some of the Gerudo females. You got that chick from Lon Farm. Who had the crush.
You guys are
Zelda.
ruining this
Trying
game.
to see me cheating
Ruining it for everybody who's going to buy it.
Testing it. I'm so sorry. We got to give this the floor to Jason right now. This is going to get bad.
You are ruining my game.
Oh, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, sorry, Jay. You were talking about the epic storyline.
Okay, all right. The epic story. Please continue on the epic storyline, because I effing love the story in Breath of the Wild.
I have one thing about Breath of the Wild that I really, really like that I'm going to keep my mouth shut on to the end and see if either of you mention it, because I'm the only one who ever talks about it besides the potential for a great dating sim.
Anyway, so what I liked the best is that the Zelda story and the Link story have been told time and time again, recreated multiple times through so many different games. We, as a gamer who's played the series long enough, know the storyline. But the game presents the story as if Link doesn't know it. He had it. It's in the past. It's been forgotten. So you're rediscovering all of these things and how they present them to you and some of the background information that you get from the cutscenes just builds on the character development. So for me, the story was fresh and new, even though I already knew the main talking points. So the entire story, as well as being able to traverse the land, the landscape, the enemies were different and unique. The combat style I thought was interesting. The ability that you can have multiple different weapons and pick up different things. There is one disappointment that I have about it, and it's about the Master Sword because it can break. What the hell is that?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
No. Before you get into that, you do understand in the DLC there is a quest, a decently difficult quest that you have to do. So
The challenge quests. Yeah.
So you can get the Master Sword not to break.
Correct, but I thought that it was lame that that you have a DLC in order for that to happen. The Master Sword is the Master Sword
because it's a Master Sword. No, that's totally respectable. I totally get that.
Yeah.
That should have been off the bat. That should have been off the cusp. You know what I mean?
It shouldn't have been a DLC. It should have been a part of the game.
You got the Master Sword, and it was the Master Sword, but maybe then add like the little shine ability to it as the challenge.
Yes.
But no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, or just make the Master Sword real hard to get, and once you got it, you earned it, and it couldn't break, but you lost years of your life trying to get it.
So before I go on to my indie title, what were you going to say, Presto?
Yeah, the sound design in Breath of the Wild is some of my favorite, I think, out of any game that I've ever played.
Music,
because they do this stuff with the soundtrack and the piano, and it's just got such a weird, unique flavor to it where, the example that I like to think of off top is you run into, the spy ninja people. It's been a while, so I don't remember the names, but you run into the spy ninja people that are trying to kill you.
Out in the middle
right?
of, just the wild and everything.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
that was my favorite part of the game.
So they're, everything when you're cooking, they have the little cooking song and everything's happy. And as every do, it's the nice little piano chords. But when you run into them, they're talking to you. And then they say that one off color comment that's but now I have to kill you. And the little piano trill where it's da-da-da, it's very off putting. And that to me is the perfect example of where there's a million examples though, of how they incorporated music and a seemingly routine audio cue to be oh God, something's not right with this person.
They play it
in a musical note, but they play it off key to where it sounds unsettling, and just they do that in so many areas of the game. But that's just the specific instance that I think of where I'm just oh.
Totally
so
agree. The audio
Headphones
and the
on.
music about this game is phenomenal. And listeners, let's just be clear here. We've beaten this to a dead horse because of how much each one of us have an opinion about it. That's a testament to how much you need to buy this game.
Well, I would definitely say how much we've just talked about Breath of the Wild. I think that Jason's recommendation has won for me. Also, another reason to buy it and reinforcing Jason's decision, they're just coming out with a sequel.
Yep.
So
yes,
thinking about it at this point, you're getting a full-fledged game. You're not going to have to pay full retail price. Go to Facebook Marketplace. Go somewhere besides GameStop. Buy the game for use. Don't pay full price
You
for
said
it.
the name.
The shots.
So many
The
shots will
shots.
be taken at them.
But Nick, they have games that are used at an affordable discounted rate.
You know,
Anyway, moving on to my indie game title, and
Okay.
this is going to be. It's an indie title, but it's gotten such rave reviews on other platforms, it no longer feels like an indie title. It is Cuphead.
Okay.
So
so you too are a masochist.
yes,
For
I am.
sure.
Cuphead has a rubber band animation 1930s style art, and it is phenomenally beautiful. Me and my fiance played it side by side on the couch. It is very entertaining, but I must say it is absolutely difficult. They do not kid when they talk about the difficulty of this game. You can literally just be grinding away trying to defeat the same boss for 3 hours. And if you're not skilled enough at avoiding being hit, you will die. The game is a pure challenge base, and it's all about learning how to overcome those challenges. So it brings me back to the old school Sonic games where if you had a difficulty with a level, you had to keep trying until you were able to accomplish it.
This scale's way larger than that, though.
Oh, definitely.
This scale's so everybody's got to think right here for this game. You're thinking Metal Slug and Contra on steroids. Like if they took the concept of those two difficulties and they were like, let's put it in today's day and age, but still keep it as hard as fuck.
Yeah, you need to have quick finger buttons.
If you haven't seen it, it's all 2D. It's all very tight controls.
Side scroll animation.
You need to be in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That creepy, like ancient Disney style, like suggestive art and everything.
Yes.
And I love that that's the art that they paired it with, right? It's like this like fun little flower that's doing like this little 1920s like old timey like dance routine.
Yeah.
When he's about to like melt your face off for the next 3 hours.
Not only is the
like I think that's a perfect blend of visual element and
not only is the animation that way, but they've also done like a scratched camera or dirty lens filter over the top of it where you can see like the hair follicle and like the scratch in the lines in the screen. So
you're like trying to clean the Switch's
and
screen.
It's not.
Like, I got a screen protector. What's going on?
So
with this?
They really did a good job about trying to make the game in that time period, not just with its art style, not just with its animation, not just with its gameplay, but also with its entire feel, which I thought was phenomenal. It's an extreme challenge, and it's definitely worth purchasing.
Cool. So in recap, we got Super Smash Brothers, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild for the mainstream picks. No surprises there. Cuphead, Hollow Knight, and
Binding of
Isaac, super deluxe double backflip version, whatever they went. It's like Street Fighter 2 Turbo on that. But yeah, Binding of Isaac, whatever the current version is. Yeah, and if you don't have those games, what are you doing?
Definitely.
What are you doing?
We got some new games this week that are coming out soon or have recently come out, as usual. The first one, we're just going to blow through these pretty quickly because there's not much to talk about until they come out. Luigi's Mansion 3 coming out on Halloween, which I thought was a cute little marketing thing. Have it come out on Halloween. Really cool franchise if you're into that.
It's co-op.
They're re-released. Wait, it's co-op?
See the videos?
Yes.
I just see Luigi with a vacuum and I lose
I'm pretty
interest.
sure it's 4-player. I think Gooigi.
Oh, that's right. The booger guy.
The booger guy.
All right.
Official.
We'll take a closer look on that on a future episode once it's out. We got The Lion King and Aladdin 16-bit remasters of the original Sega Genesis and Nintendo games getting released on the Switch to accompany their live-action DVD releases, I think. Which, to me, that's cool. If you want a heavy spoonful of nostalgia, definitely check those out to pick that up.
Both games are hardcore. So for those original fans, Lion King, very difficult game to complete.
Oh yeah, no, they're not easy.
Yeah.
Wii Fit Next Gen, which maybe we'll talk about this on a future episode a little more in depth. But Nintendo has come out with this weird exercise ring, and you like like do like arm crunches with it and like flail it around and like basically try to cause yourself to have a heart attack. And it pairs it with a game. So like you'll squeeze the thing and then your character will run. It's weird. It's Nintendo. There's a video on our Twitter, twitter.com/the_Nintendads, hey, of Jimmy Fallon doing some weird stuff with it. So there's that. BlizzCon is coming up, which we are going to talk a whole hell of a lot about on our next episode. Probably mostly going to be focusing on BlizzCon, depending if they shit the bed again or not for this BlizzCon. Overwatch 2 is definitely going to come out at this point. They're like basically leaking it themselves. But the last thing I want to talk about, because I know if I bring Fortnite Chapter 2 up, nickYeti's going to have an aneurysm. So I'm going to spare everyone. I'm going to spare everyone. Pokemon Sword and Shield is coming out in a couple weeks. And from what I understand, you guys have not heard controversy about this game.
So wait, first of all, this is a full-fledged release on the Switch. So
yes,
this is so think about this. This is the first full-fledged Pokemon release on a home TV console. This is iconic. This isn't like Pokemon Stadium or anything. This is like, you can say Pokemon Let's Go was a complete revamp of basically Red and Blue. This is the first full-fledged welcome to the big screen Pokemon game.
Not only is it the first full-fledged release, but like how Breath of the Wild revolutionarily changed how Zelda games were going to be made from that point forward, they've gone and changed the format for what Pokemon is and turned it into an open world game. And they've completely changed the play style.
Some of it's open world. Mm-hmm. Some of it's open world. A good portion, but that is new to the Pokemon series. You're right. The controversy is, after we've talked it up now. So in every Pokemon game since Red and Blue, you've always been able to transfer all of your Pokemon into the new game, right? So that you can carry your collection along with you, because obviously you got to catch them all. So we had, first gen, second gen, third gen. You've, captured all these guys over the years. Pokemon Sword and Shield doesn't have all the Pokemon. It is going to be locked. It will only have the Pokemon that they have decided are going to be featured in this region. There's going to be a whole new generation of Pokemon in Sword and Shield. And then there's going to be a handful of Pokemon like Pikachu, Charizard, Gyarados, Rhydon that they've selected that are going to be present in this region. But there's not going to be all 150 original ones that are available for transfer or finding in this game. So in this game, this is going to be the first Pokemon game ever that doesn't have what they call the national dex, the national Pokedex, meaning every other game, it was possible to have every single Pokemon captured until that point. This game breaks that pattern. Will only have the Pokemon that they've selected in the game.
So hold on. Does that mean that the original 150, quote unquote, are in the game, but only on specific regions?
No, I'm saying this game happens. Every game in Pokemon happens in a specific region. So you have like the Sinnoh region that you're in now, or the Johto region from the first one, that has a mix of new and old Pokemon, but you always have the option to transfer all of your old Pokemon in there and then catch all the ones that you don't have in the wild. This one, if you have, a Lapras, and they decided that Lapras isn't going to be available in the region that Sword and Shield takes place in, there's no Lapras. You can't catch a Lapras. You can't transfer a Lapras. There's no. So
this is like the Australia of.
It's supposed to take place in like a British, like a UK medieval type, because it's like Sword and Shield. Like
makes sense for that.
But yeah, you're only going to get the Pokemon that they want you
regional
to get,
block
and not
is preventing other Pokemon from other regions in this particular region. So you cannot catch them all, essentially.
Yes. And there's a whole lot of feelings about that from people who have played every Pokemon from start to finish.
I'll be straight up honest from the beginning. The only reason I have huge distaste for this game in general is because it focuses more on newer Pokemon and not the original 150. Beyond the
because you're a boomer.
Yes. Sorry,
but there are a significant amount of the first 150 available in the region, but like Kabuto, I haven't seen anything about Kabuto.
I can't. You know what, man?
Here.
I was hoping. I was excited for a controversy. This isn't a controversy to me. This is a bunch of little. Let me not give my opinion about Pokemon.
Yo, tell
fans.
us how you
Dude,
really
get the
feel.
Out of your bedrooms. Dude, get the out of here with this bullshit. Thank God they made a departure. Holy shit. Great. So you're telling me that development team isn't losing their mind making models for every fucking Pokemon just so you can feel comfortable and your fan base be like, ooh, look, he transferred this over there. Get the fuck out of here. What they did was they're making the first, what I'm going to call it big screen. I'm just going to use that as the nickname. It's the first big screen Pokemon game. I'm not going to fucking buy it or get it. I'm over it. Me and my son have a ton of fun playing Pokemon Let's Go because you can both throw the balls at it. He has a freaking blast with it. I'm not into this game. But I have to say, from a kid who grew up and loved Pokemon, collect Pokemon cards, I fucking die hard Pokemon Red and Blue. I think it's great. I think they needed to do this. They needed to make a big statement with it. My only gripe with this game is the weird Actually, my whole gripe with Pokemon in general, the modern Pokemon, is the whole transformation thing, where you have like Shadow this or Dark. I don't even freaking know what it is. I can't keep up with it anymore. But it's just that's not cool to me. And this game that plays a big role in it.
Gigantamaxing, Nick. It's called Gigantamaxing.
I hope it plays a positive role. I don't know if you can do it in every battle. If you're playing co-op together and you do it, I hope they implemented it properly. But as far as all the Pokemon not being involved, get the over your
So it's that time of the episode where Corporal is going to hit us with his side quest question of the episode. What do you got? What do you got for us this time?
So it's a very simple question, but it should elicit some emotional responses.
Not from Nick. Stone cold.
What is the most satisfying or gratifying boss fight you've ever completed, regardless what genre of video game it's been in?
Oh
shit! I have to think about that one.
Well, I don't. I'll go first because I don't have to think about it 1 second.
Really? Okay.
Yes, the most difficult. This is the most. And looking back on it, like it's not even that hard. It just gave me so much trouble, and I remember hating it so much, and it drove me nuts. And then when I finally did it, I was like, it was like I just like graduated from college with a degree in like hating this damn game boss. It was Donkey Kong 64, and it was that stupid Jack in the Box where you played as Dixie Kong, which is the female Kong with the pigtails, and you could float, and it was like on this grid, and it would jump after you, and then you had to like jump and float over, and the camera, I mean, you were fighting the boss, but right beside the boss, you were fighting the camera controls because they were like, they were so bad. It makes me so angry just thinking about it. But yeah, Donkey Kong 64, the stupid Jack in the Box thing with Dixie Kong, immediately what comes to mind. I hated it. I don't know if I felt good, after beating it, but I just felt so relieved that I never had to do it again. And that was that's my definitive, when somebody says what's the worst boss? What's the most, that absolutely immediately.
Okay. All right. Yeti, do you have one yet? Or
Still
want me to go?
Yeah, no. I got it down. It was Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It was Galactus.
Really?
It was, absolutely. Turning that difficulty up all the way, and he threw the what you would say, you know how Smash has the fighting polygon team, and have the polygon version of someone else he would fight. I just, you know what, 3D Space boss battles are cool, but I just feel like the 2D space fighting game, when you have a boss battle like that, it just makes it so much more less options for you to have, and it's like you really got to be on point with everything that you do.
Yeah, that's true.
I grinded that out like crazy, and then fighting it with different characters. You know me, I love in fighting games playing, like, it's not like I like to play the underdog, but for some reason my attraction is always to the character that isn't going to be what is, quote unquote, to the mainstream top tier.
Tier lists don't exist to you in fighting games.
Absolutely not. I'm always going to play what I want to play.
Yeah. Okay. So, what about you, Corporal?
My personal all-time gratifying boss fight to this day is still completing Banjo-Kazooie, the original boss fight against the witch. At the top of the tower, first time playing, I hadn't gotten all of my musical notes, so I hadn't unlocked all of my health bars yet. So when I finally made it to the top, I wasn't as strong as I could have been, and I tried so hard to complete that boss, and it just was not working. And I ended up having to go back and recomplete a bunch of the levels in order to level up again. And then even still, I kept dying, and some of it was a camera issue, some of it was just I lacked the skill. But the more and more I grinded at it, the better and better I got. And when I finally did defeat her, it was the most satisfying moment of my young childhood life.
That's fair. That's a good. I like that both of ours came from similar type games from the Nintendo 64.
The Nintendo 64 3D adventure platform.
Yeah. The brutality of horribly animated, ugly ass boss monsters.
64 was one of the most amazing consoles. It really was.
We should do a future episode where we count down our top favorite 64 titles. That would be good. Jet Force Gemini coming out in force.
Oh.
We need to get into that.
GoldenEye.
Perfect Dark. Oh,
Bomberman.
Oh my gosh. Yoshi's Story. Jeez. All right. We digress. We have been the Nintendads. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Follow us on your local social medias, such as the Instagram or the Facebook. We're usually just whatever social media thing at the Nintendads. On Twitter, we're _Nintendads, if you're about that tweet life. But yeah, follow us. I think we might stream. On Twitch at some point, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. This is going to be talked about.
We'll see. We do some brutal couch co-op. And if you listen to this, give us your opinion. Should we all get into Risk of Rain 2? Should we do that?
Yeah, throw it out there. We're looking for. So, all right, we talk about constantly a game that we should all play for this, and talk about for you guys.
Something that we've all never played before.
Absolutely. Risk of Rain 2 is looking like it. I think it came out. Is it PC and Switch, or is it PS4 also?
I think it came out. I think it came out for everything.
Did it?
And then it came out for Switch, like a little bit later. Yeah, like all things.
Switch is the afterthought for everybody.
Yeah.
We definitely need to wrap this up because I've got a dentist appointment at 2:30.
Wow, nobody cares.
In the afternoon?
In the morning?
Tooth 30. Dad joke.
Oh, I hate you so much.
That's it. That's a wrap. I'm
out. I forgot that you said you were going to keep doing that, you bastard. Jesus. All right, we're the Nintendads. Don't hate us. Bye.